नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम.
We have been looking at the Rajasuya Yajna as part of our Mahabharata discussions. We were also looking at how when we talk about a yajna, it is not just about offering some materials to the Agni, but there is a larger purpose to it. We also started looking at a few questions in the previous session, and somehow we landed on the story of Jadabharata and looked at how he was born in different forms. And we looked at the aspect of Jati, Ayu and Bhoga, the species that we are born into, the lifespan that we have, and whatever we enjoy or experience in a particular lifetime. And we also looked at some of the frameworks that will challenge our current thought process in terms of having multiple lokas, interacting with multiple lokas, challenging the idea that you live only once, YOLO. We in fact live from one life. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam is what we looked at, and looked at the story in that context. But then this question also arises. There were so many things that were going on in the Rajasuya Yajna. So just as so many things are going on, as part of this Yajna, we are having a sustainability brick making workshop. We are also having this Mahabharata session. The children are, singing bhajans, they are playing, and so many things are happening. So much learning is happening. So what was happening around the Rajasuya Yajna, or what was happening in it, and what were the events that are connected to the Rajasuya Yajna in the Mahabharata?
We saw the story of the Maya Sabha being constructed, and Raja Yudhishthira was proud of it. So when Narada Maharishi, the Deva Rishi, Narada Maharishi came visiting, after doing appropriate puja, offering Arghya, Padya, Madhur Parka, after honoring the Deva Rishi, he asked this question to Narada Maharishi. You travel through all lokas. Have you seen any sabha like this sabha, Maya Sabha? Now, even to accept this question, we looked at some current conditioned mindsets that everyone carries. One of the conditioning is, as Matrushree said, YOLO. You only live once. Because only that is visible. It is just like saying sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and the earth is not rotating because it is not visible. For understanding earth is rotating, we use science as the pramana. Similarly, to understand that there is Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, we use our Shastra as pramana, as a valid source of knowledge, though it is not directly visible to us. Only this lifetime is visible to us. But the choices of this lifetime, even deciding to be born in Bhuloka, deciding to be born in this Jati, Jati means species, human species, even that is a decision. And that visibility the Shastra provides. Then we would understand, oh, then who were we, where were we before we took birth here? That question arises. So we again looked at another conditioned mindset, that life exists only on earth. Need not be. There are more than 100 billion stars in this Milky Way galaxy. So many stars are there in this Milky Way galaxy. And in current astronomy, estimated more than trillion galaxies. Trillion means 1 followed by 12 zeros. How many crores is that? 1 crore is 7 zeros. So 1 lakh crore galaxies. Imagine. And this is estimation. And in all of this, can we claim that we are the only life? Life exists only on earth? It does not seem so valid. So Narada Maharishi is a Deva Rishi, not a Bhuloka Rishi. He is temporarily visiting Raja Yudhishthira, carrying news from other lokas. Now this, if we have a mindset, a view that life exists only on earth, we will not be able to even approach it. So that's why such an assumption we will have to look at it. So Narada Maharishi, great Rishi, respected in so many lokas, visiting Bhuloka, visiting Raja Yudhishthira. And hence Raja Yudhishthira, who does not travel like Narada Maharishi because he does not have access to all lokas. He asks the great Rishi, have you seen any sabha like this? For which Narada Maharishi answers, Kubera's sabha, Varuna's sabha, Yama's sabha, Indra's sabha, Brahma's sabha. These are all just too great. But in Manushya Loka, your sabha is the greatest. Imagine the expansion of perspective just listening to it. And Raja Yudhishthira has Shraddha in Narada Maharishi. Just like if Einstein says E equal to mc square, none of us are capable of testing it ourselves. We are not capable of. We have Shraddha, great scientist. And hence we don't have a problem accepting it. Like that when Narada Maharishi says, in Manushya Loka, your sabha is the greatest. Raja Yudhishthira is humbled. He accepts it. And he is elated. But then in the description, Narada Maharishi mentions that Pandu, the revered father of the Pandavas, is in Yama's sabha. And that destabilizes them. Because their expectation is that Pandu would be in Indra's sabha, not in Yama's sabha. That expectation is shattered. But then Narada Maharishi carries the news from Pandu. So if you go to a place, someone you meet, they know someone, they will give you some news. Yeah, inquire. You will come back, carry that news. So like that Narada Maharishi carries the news from Pandu in Yama's sabha, stating, do Rajasuya Yajna. Because of the punya from the Rajasuya Yajna, Pandu will ascend from Yama's sabha to Indra's sabha. Very interesting. Our actions here affect our ancestors, future generations also. Future generations we understand, but how about ancestors? They're already gone. That's why to understand this, we need to understand the journey continues. It does not end. So taking this seriously, Raja Yudhishthira consults everybody. Everybody encourages him. But he wants a decisive opinion. He has the greatest respect for Bhagavan Krishna. So he consults Bhagavan Krishna. Should I perform the Rajasuya Yajna? For which Bhagavan Krishna clearly tells him, there are 5 qualities that are required for someone who wants to perform the Rajasuya Yajna. Rajasuya Yajna is making a Raja or a Rajya first amongst equals. That means establishing one as a superpower. Even now amongst nations there are the concepts of superpower. There are many nations, but there is first amongst equals. That's a superpower. And they set the right vision for the whole world. And hence Bhagavan Krishna lists out the qualities of one who can be a superpower. The greatest amongst equals. All Rajas are equals, but the greatest amongst equals. What are the qualities? One of the quality is Palanam. That means the Raja should take care of their praja. Like a mother, pregnant mother taking care of an unborn child. Should never hurt, do anything that will hurt the child. See, great quality. Very tough, not easy to follow. So Raja should work like that. Complex, not easy. Palanam, one quality. Another quality, Jaya, should be victorious. Victorious over enemies. Should win over. Win over external enemies and internal enemies. What are internal enemies? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. External enemies everyone understands. Should be capable of winning over enemies. Another quality, Niti. The right Niti. Wise administration. Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. Where what is applicable, that should be done. Correct policy, correct foreign policy. In our current world also we can see it's not easy. So right Niti. Dharma. Should understand the difference between dharma and adharma. Again, not easy. Raja means tough decision making. In that it should be dharmic, not adharmic. Dharma adharma vichara, which is called viveka. That viveka the Raja should possess. Very tough. Even in family life, we get multiple choices. We have tough decision making. Struggle. Then imagine a Raja. Tough decision making. Like that, Bhagavan Krishna gives some qualities of who can be a superpower, who can perform the Rajasva Yajna, and Bhagavan Krishna assures Raja Yudhishthira that you have all the qualities. Any Raja possessing any of these qualities is capable of performing the Rajasva Yajna. But Raja Yudhishthira is very unique because he has all the qualities. It is mentioned that Sri Ramachandra Prabhu had all these qualities. Not easy to have all the qualities. So he is qualified to perform the Rajasva Yajna. With this assurance, Raja Yudhishthira is now, because it's a tough decision, because Rajasva Yajna means you need a lot of muscle power, money power, army power, you need a lot of wealth. Not easy to undertake such a mission, to establish oneself as a superpower. Very tough. Bharat is emerging as a superpower. And it's not new to us. You can see from our Itihasa Purana, we can see. It's not new to us. We understand the principles of these principles we have. They are well qualified to guide the entire world. Bharat is Vishwaguru. We guide the entire world because we have such knowledge with us. It's not easy to possess such knowledge. We already have such knowledge. Performing such a yajna is very tough. So Bhagavan Krishna points to an axis of evil called Jarasandha. You will have to break that axis of evil. Who is supporting adharma, who has captured so many kings, ready to give bali. He holds the axis of this negative power. He has polarized. So you'll have to break Jarasandha. Bhagavan Krishna is very practical. Now it is not easy task. So one has to appropriate Rajaniti, political strategy, for the purpose of establishing dharma. If the right understanding is not there, cannot establish dharma. So dharma rakshana. Bhagavan Krishna's birth was for dharma rakshana. Bhagavan Rama's birth was for dharma rakshana. We get to know this through our Itihasa Purana. What is the purpose of our birth? By looking at Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Rama, such role models, we start evaluating, defining the purpose of our birth. It is not automatic. It is educational. If we don't have access to our own Itihasa Purana, then we might not understand these in the first place. Okay, we are here, we are doing something. What is the purpose of birth? Sorry, I have never thought about it. I was not taught in school, out of syllabus. Can we say? Is it part of the syllabus in schools? No? Oh, but very important question. Have all of you got such questions sometime in your life? Yes. Even children are nodding their heads. Yes, yes, yes. So not just adults. Even children get this question. What is the purpose of my life? If mother asks them to solve a mathematics problem, what is the purpose for my life? Have I been born to solve this math problem? I am born to do great things. So everyone can get this question in the face of challenges. And anything can challenge us. That's why Mahabharata illustrates the principles of strength that helps us overcome challenges, and that is the path to peace, lasting peace. Shanti. Shanti is not for the weak of heart, because even a mathematics problem will create Ashanti. Any exam can create Ashanti. So it illustrates the principles of strength that lead to peace. That's why Shanti Parva is the longest Parva of Mahabharata. Mahabharata is not about war, it's about peace. But the principles of peace are very deep, not easy. There are circumstances that threaten our peace. Raja Yudhishthira had already established, was settled in Indraprastha. And Narada Maharishi's news, now what to do? Oh, Rajasya again, new initiative. It's a lot of work. And uncertain, not sure how the world will take it, not sure whether they will succeed. Lot of risks involved. That is how the path to progress is. And yet, steps have to be taken. And yet, there should be careful assessment. In that, friends and allies have to be garnered. Those will stand with us. Bhagavan Krishna stands for dharma, and hence he stands with Raja Yudhishthira. He does not stand for adharma, and hence he does not support Duryodhana. Very clear. Not unclear, not indifferent to dharma. Dharma, adharma, vichara, viveka.
It's quite clearly established in this particular sloka and transmission of message here that the primary objective of human birth is to establish dharma, both for himself or herself and the surrounding atmosphere. In this context, dharma is seen as a balancing principle, both a balancing principle and a support. The word itself defines that only. Dhara. From the root word dhara, dharma is seen. Dhara means support. Supporting what we see as good and bad. Good and bad is a relative term. You know, war is sometimes seen as bad. Killing is sometimes seen as bad. But killing what? How you kill? What do you kill? This is where dharma has to be established. For example, in war, it's not considered killing, it's considered defending your nation. And then you will see in the Mahabharata, people ask this question, how can Krishna encourage killing? You know, that's because we have understood the idea of killing. We have misunderstood the idea of killing. Here there is a yajna going on. Dharma yukta is a yajna, a sacrifice. The soldier is ready to sacrifice himself. He willfully comes there to fight this battle to defend his nation. Both sides. This is the dharma of the Kshatriya. Like this, each of us have a dharma to perform. And based on your dharma, you discover what your natural tendency is, your swadharma is in life. Not just in the battlefield, but in experiences of life, marriage, family, friends, work environment. There's always a dharma interplay in your life. And why particularly for human beings? What about animals? Animals flow naturally with dharma. But for the human being, he has one extra faculty known as viveka. And based on this viveka, he is able to discriminate between dharma and adharma. He is given that choice. For animals, this choice does not exist, not necessary. They flow with nature. So what happened to the human race? Did we come out of nature? No. one particular principal responsibility of the human being is to both flow with nature and protect nature. He is the nourisher of nature. I'll give you an example. There was an anthropological study. Anthropological study is the study of human nature, how human behavior, how a person is seen as a human being, what kind of a human being, different races, different race profiling, different demographic profiling is done. This is anthropological study. So in one of these study, there was a particular anthropologist. He wanted to discover, when do you define a person to be human? What defines a person to be human against being an animal? And of course, his comparative study was based on ape, how the ape, the Neanderthal, and all the other evolutionary process brought to human beings. When did we cross over from being an ape or a semi-human, semi-ape into a full human? This study was conducted. So they went into archaeological survey and they found some bones in some places in old ancient civilization. And they found in one place there was the bones of a human being with a broken thigh bone. And the thigh bone was broken and healed into place. This is very interesting, because for an animal, if when they travel in a group, if one animal is hurt or his leg is broken, they will leave this animal behind. He cannot survive. He will be left behind. Nature is such. Nature's evolution process is the weak is eliminated and only the strong survive. This is the natural process for nature. But human being is a little bit different. How? When somebody is hurt, he doesn't leave that someone behind. He will take care of that human being. This is when you realize, this is when you become human. Because we are both protector, caregiver, and part of nature. This is our primary objective in life as a human being, to be a caregiver for others. The weaker of society, we don't leave them behind. We bring them with us. This is Raja Dharma. This is Manushya Dharma. Dharma is Dharma. There's a overall general Dharma, but there is also a Manushya Dharma. This is what makes us unique and different. That we don't leave the weak behind. We take them along with us. We nourish them. We give them care. We look after nature. We plant trees. We make sure this environment is safe. In this 21st century, we've lost this sense of Dharma. How to nourish nature. We only know how to take, not enough, take some more. Save for another 10 years, 15 years, Federal Reserve, National Reserve, this reserve, that reserve. Animals don't do that. They only take what is needed for the day. So how did we become like that? There was an inducement of fear psychosis in the human mind. Out of fear, he saves for tomorrow. You see? And because of loss of Dharma, the fear psychosis became very powerful. Because we lost our sense of Dharma. We lost our sense of alignment with nature. And you will see, those who are aligned with nature, they have no fear. They understand. Even a snake comes next to him, a wild animal, wild creature comes next to him. He's not afraid of the creature, and the creature is also not afraid of him. What happens when fear comes into your coexistence? You start suspecting each other. Then there is inner conflict. From inner conflict, suspicion comes. From suspicion, anger comes. Then there's war. Because we don't understand each other. We lost the ability to understand. We lost the ability to study each other's natural process. Because we fell from Dharma. So that is why Dharma is given so much importance. Because we are both responsible to practice and uphold and allow Dharma to grow. This is our primary objective. All the great leaders and Mahatmas and teachers of the past have established this one principal subject, Dharma. Very important. It's a very broad spectrum word, Dharma. It's not just maintaining law and order. That's one aspect of it. It's not about doing the right thing. That's one aspect of it. Dharma is a very broad topic. Very, very broad topic. But for the sake of this discussion here, we'll just touch on this purpose. What is the purpose of human birth? To protect and nourish nature across the board. Trees, animals, human beings, everyone. Because we have one superior faculty. We can co-create. We can create things. And we must use this knowledge for the right purpose. You can create fire to perform a yajna, and you can create fire to destroy something. Nuclear energy can be used for generation of free energy, but it can be also used to destroy. So this responsibility is a very unique responsibility, and it's very important that we inculcate this responsibility to our young ones, because we are moving into a new age of AI technology. Very important. How we use this knowledge with responsibility, and that is what Dharma is all about. Knowledge with responsibility. Freedom with responsibility. You cannot have freedom and not be responsible. Not possible. That is why it's so important. And I like to end in that tone of responsibility.
When we talk about responsibility and the application of dharma, then the automatic aspect of karma comes in, because karma means action. So whenever we have to follow dharma or protect dharma, it means there is an inherent action involved in that. When we say purpose of our life, it inherently means that there are some actions involved in, say, aligning with the purpose of life. So we do see that in the Mahabharata, a lot of instances of, karma being discussed, either in terms of actions that are required to be performed, or actions that are not suitable for a particular occasion or does not suit the swadharma of the person. Or the Bhagavad Gita talks about keep performing the karma and leave the karma phala to the larger, universal forces. So what does the Mahabharata speak about or highlight about karma?
Kri means to act. So karma is any action or functioning. If we take simple functioning, any movement is functioning. For example, if we move a hand, it's function, action. If we speak a word, it's function. It's an action. If we walk, it's an action. In simplistic terms. But when we say karma, generally the understanding is of cause and effect relationship. Our actions, we perform something, there are ripples of effects created. There are ramifications. This becomes a cause in the future of effects. And that's how life flows. And the future effects, how does it become visible to us so that we can inform ourselves better about how to perform action? That's where the Itihasa Purana illustrate the effects of people's lives, how they lived, and what were the consequences, sometimes spread across lifetimes. So when we say future, it's not just this lifetime. Spread across lifetimes, how did it impact them? We saw the story of Jada Bharata, whose focus on the deer was so strong, he forgot his object of meditation, which was Mahavishnu, his Ishtadevata. So even paying attention is karma. What you choose to pay attention to If you constantly fill yourselves with random happenings through the mobile device, is it karma? Yes, you are performing an activity, even if it is unconscious. If constantly you watch negative psycho series, let me call it that, no. Because for time pass, your time will pass, but it will pass into unwanted things. You don't want to pass into unwanted things, problematic. You want a future not filled with misery, but with happiness, strength, positivity. That means the effect of actions have to be evaluated, even unconscious actions. It's not automatic. And how do you get better informed? By collective experience, by latching on to collective experience. And that's what our Itihasa Purana gives us. Collective experience. Jadabharata, we learn how his focus, when it shifted from Mahavishnu to a deer, what happened to his future lifetimes. There are other stories to illustrate this, very powerful stories. Likewise, we saw the effect of negative influence through Bhishma's life. Yes. He was one of the Ashtavasus, divine beings. And his wife insisted that he steal Vasishta's cow. What should he have done? Should he have listened to her? No. But what did he do? He fell for it, and hence was cursed. His brothers, who did not prevent him from acting it out, were also cursed. Karma. Sometimes inaction is also karma, negative karma. If you don't participate in protecting dharma, that is negative karma. It has negative consequences. Papa. It has future consequences which are negative. In Bhishma did not open his mouth, did not provide resistance to Duryodhana's action in disrobing Ma Draupadi. You saw the negative consequences that he had to face. Bhagavan Krishna explains. Dronacharya, same happens. All those rajas sitting in that sabha had to face death as the punishment for not acting when they should have acted to protect dharma. So negative karma. Sometimes inaction is also karma with negative consequences. We also see other episodes, other interesting episodes. It is also brought out through diverse stories. There is the story of a Brahmani who loses her son to a snake bite. A hunter takes charge and he wants to put that snake to death. The Brahmani represents to him, anyhow my son is gone. That poor snake, allow it to be. For which the hunter responds, no, that's not right. The snake should be given punishment, should be punished with death. And surprisingly, the snake starts speaking. It represents its case, saying, I was not the karta, I was only a nimitta. So I was not the doer, I was only an instrument in someone else's hand. And hence, please don't punish me with death. Then who inspired you? For which the snake says, Yama. So Yama appears and he says, no, I was also only an instrument. Then who inspired you? He says, Kala. Then Kala appears. I did not do it. Then how did this happen? It was the son's own past karma. Own action that inspired is dying beforehand, no, dying an untimely death because of his own past actions.
Cycle of cause and effect.
Cause, effect, but not linear.
Cycle.
Sometimes it's non-linear. We see outward actions, linear effect. Inward actions, non-linear effect. What is the effect of the desires that we hold? Complex. Sometimes it comes now, sometimes it comes later. There we start understanding the necessity to work for Chitta Shuddhi, Antakarana Shuddhi, so that what arises out of such a purified mind,
Intention. Yes.
intention, purifying the intention, so that the effect of karma is nullified.
In fact, in this particular story, we do see that it's the action of the boy that sort of triggered this karma or the phala on him. But then if you look at the whole of the Mahabharata, Bhagavan Shri Krishna does not leave it saying that it is the Pandavas' karma so they can just lose in the war. They only played the dice, or they agreed to play the dice. They only, sort of kept the kingdom as part of the dice game. So it is their action and they have to suffer the consequence. That is not the approach he takes when we look at the war and how he puts the various pieces of the puzzle together.
That is dharma. Karma is one thing. If it is the karma of the individual to suffer, then what is our dharma? As Swamiji said, protect, help, save, hurt never. Help to whatever extent, through physical actions, through verbal actions, through words you can provide solace, through even praying for some. All of these are actions. With pure intentions, we participate in dharma rakshana. It might be the karma of someone to suffer, but to whatever extent we can, we need to perform our dharma. So it is not a mindless loop that we get stuck in.
No.
Karma, cause, effect cycle that we are stuck in. No. The way to free ourselves from it is dharma. And dharma is called moksha karaka. When performed with pure intentions, nishkamya bhava, then dharma is called moksha karaka. The right actions performed with the right circumstances, but performed selflessly, lead to moksha, freedom. And this is a powerful thing, because we are not taught that. And these are important to be taught, because otherwise how do we figure it out? Not easy to figure out. All of us are busy living our lives. So many activities we perform. Now we multitask. This, this, busy. But in all this busyness, what do we miss? We miss the inner focus. The experience of life does not depend just on the outward activities and their consequences. The consequences are not just out there in terms of circumstances that emerge. The consequences are in here also. So karma is not just looked at in our Itihasa Purana, in our Shastra, as external consequences alone. No, it is like a tree. Urdhva moolam adhashakam. Upward and inner. Just as a tree, you see the external fruit. The fruit of mango is nourished by the roots that are invisible. If you don't nourish the roots, will you get the fruit? You cannot have a mango harvest. You cannot enjoy the mangoes. And mangoes are the external circumstances in our lives, which we are so fond of, very fond of. Right? Our kula, dhana, yauvana. We have so much pride over the external fruits in terms of the circumstances. I'm born in this family, great family. I have this much wealth. I have this much education. I have good circumstances. These are all external phala, circumstances. But the fruits are not just out there. It's in terms of the consequences, in terms of the impressions in the chitta, the samskaras. That is karma. So the karma, the cause and effect relationship is not just out there, circumstances. And hence, Bhagavan Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita teaches a powerful principle of prasada buddhi, arpana buddhi, to offer everything to him, to the highest principle, to the highest dharma, with that attitude performing, and receiving all consequences with prasada. Prasada means you anyhow have to act decisively. Yoga karmasu kaushalam, with effectiveness and efficiency, which will ensure outer circumstances, progress. But at the same time, true progress is when the impressions that are formed inward are nullified. We are freed, where our vision is unified. So externally we act with energy, participating wholeheartedly. And yet internally we are freed of the impressions. Because the kartritva bhava, the karta bhava, is what creates those impressions, which is karma, which again propels us further and further. Because all the time we are focused on external reality. These circumstances, this everything focused externally. But karma is equally internal as well. Our impressions, chitta shuddhi, when they are clarified, then you will see, you will progress, you will live liberated and performing your dharma, but freed. Freed of the negative consequences, the cause and effect cycle. And hence dharma is called moksha karaka.
When it comes to performance of karma, action, I would like to emphasize a little bit on what induces an action. The inducement of an action is driven by what is known as desire, the karma. In many traditions who have not understood the full meaning of karma, they've given some negative connotation to karma. But karma is simply desire. And here I'd like to illustrate two things. The right type of karma and why karma is important. After the destruction of Kamadev by Lord Shiva's third eye, that brought about the birth of our beloved Skanda, Radhi goes to Lord Shiva and she says, karma is destroyed. What happens to the universe now? There's no karma. There's no desire for the plant to grow. We cannot do farming because the seeds are planted, but there's no desire for the seed to grow. Today in some parts of South India, they have a temple for Kamadev, Kameshwar temple, to worship Kam, and they will do it just before the harvest season starts, to induce desire. There's no desire for rain to fall. There's no desire for sun to shine. All this is also driven by desire. So desire is not a negative thing. That's why it's in one of the principal purusarthas. But it has to be guided by dharma. Dharma means right intention. What are the right types of desires? This is very important to establish within us. Desire for a higher purpose, desire for greater good of society, desire for greater preservation of the universe. This should be, your desire should be driven by these intentions. Action can be the same action. Killing is action. You kill to protect your family, you kill to protect your nation, or you kill to fulfill a personal dharma or a personal karma. action is the same. For example, a man, he hugs his wife, he hugs his daughter, he hugs his mother, he hugs his friend. Same action, different desire. So, primary to action is desire. Primary to desire is intention. So, that is why you will notice in our practices, whatever karma kanda we perform, the primary is the sankalpa. What is your sankalpa? What is your intention? We built this, what is our intention? Does it serve the intention that you built it for? You see? We can have weapons, but what is our intention? Was it an offensive weapon or a defensive weapon? To protect our nation, we have the right to have weapons. Art of war, to learn the art of war for the defensive purpose of nation. For self-defense, you learn art of war not to go and fight and kill somebody. You learn art of war for self-defense and keep your body and mind fit. So, intention is more powerful than the action. I'll tell you one story. There was a village in which a great Siddhayogi lived. Every day he focused on his Shiva Puja. And every time he does Shiva Puja, he's a very particular type of Siddhayogi. He doesn't like disturbance. And he can easily get distracted. So he tries to make his puja very focused, his sankalpa very focused. And he was doing his Shiva Puja. And next to his hut, there was a dasi. You know what a dasi is, you know. And he's forced into being a dasi for the purpose of livelihood. She had to survive. But she knows that her actions are wrong, but her intention was to save the family. So her actions were not appropriate to that conditions of life that exist there. Some see it as immoral actions. But out of no choice, she had no other choice but to do that action. But every day, without fail, before she goes into that action, she prays to Lord Shiva, please forgive me, I am doing this out of necessity. And then on this side, there is this Shiva Yogi. He is curious what is going on in that hut. How many people are coming in and out of this hut? So while he is doing Shiva Puja, every time somebody goes in, he'll put one rock there. So his actions are Shiva Puja, but where is his mind? His mind is in what's happening over there. Whereas this person who's performing her action, her mind is in Lord Shiva and she says, please forgive me, please forgive me. So then one day what happens? Death comes to the two of them. And during death, the Shiva Yogi gets very powerful ceremony of death. And this lady, because of her character, they didn't give her a very respectful death. But after the death ceremony, the Shiva Dutas, you know, the messengers of Shiva, the angels from Shiva, they come to take this particular soul that was considered a loose character straight to Shiva Lok. And this yogi, he protests. He says, I did performance of puja all my life for you, and I don't get this special privilege of going to Sivaloka. So the Shiva Dutas tell him, you see, for the actions you performed, you had a very respectful funeral ceremony. And that's the end of the story. Whereas she did not get that for her actions she performs. But because of her superior intention, she was given this status after death. So actions are sometimes determined by your past karmas and evolution process that comes with the karma. Cause and effect cycle. But in your icha, you have this power of viveka to change your action from that which is bad to that which is good, with the right intention and sankalpa. And that's what matters at the end of the day. By this, I'm not saying you have the license to go and perform bad action. You know, it means you have to perform your action with the right intention and with a lot of responsibility.
We'll end the satsang here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Tat Sat.
Brahmarpanamastu.